TH-DEC-2022 Driving Business.
We'll be back from the break. It's 20 minutes to the top of the hour as we now look into what is making headlines from the world of sports. But before that, the markets on the Zabo platform are already open. Just for you to quickly run onto there. Use the USSD code *292# and quickly start your investment journey today with Zabo. Zabo says, "My money, my future." Powered by Altex East Africa, which reminds you to do something new today. Now, the only good thing that you can do today that is new for you is to invest in government bonds. And of course, with a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings, you'll be able to invest swiftly. You will choose a preferred maturity period for your bond and start your investment journey. The markets open at 8:15 a.m. Like I said, they are now already open and they will be closing at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. At the time, if you are watching Smart 24 TV, will be a time of Yugi to Kole, is when that particular market will be closed. So it should be a time for you to quickly start your investment journey. The markets are open during working days, Monday to Friday, only closed during weekends and public holidays. And now let's get into what is making headlines from the world of sports business. Now, kickstarting it off with sports, FIFA generates $1.74 billion sponsorship from an income over 2019 to 2022 cycle. This particular one is roughly £1.67 billion in sponsorship income during its 4-year sales cycle, culminating with the current World Cup in Qatar, with a more than 4.6% increase from the previous 4-year period when it generated $1.66 billion from the sale of its sponsorship rights. Now, the increase is largely thought to have been driven by the Global Federation's World Cup sponsor tire, where revenues have risen from $363 million in the last cycle to around $545 million this time round. There has been very little movement in the top FIFA partner category, which grants sponsorship rights across all of FIFA's men's, women's and esports competitions. The esports competitions rather. Now, with Qatar Airways having joined the tire in 2017 and most of the other brands in the category having agreed extensions ahead of the previous cycle from 2015 to 2018, revenues across the FIFA partner tire stood at $1.05 billion across the current 4-year cycle. A late flurry of deals in FIFA's third regional supporter tire prompted the governing body to claim a full roster of sponsors for the current World Cup in Qatar, although the late cancellation of blockchain company Algorand's regional support rights in Europe and the US appears to leave the category 2 brands short of the maximum of 20 sponsors. Now, sports business sponsorship analysis indicates that FIFA generated $125 million in revenue from this particular tire. Now, similarly, agency sources said reservations about Qatar's human rights record have prompted some sponsors to change their customary approach to activating FIFA sponsorship deals, while some major brands have been barely visible and others are activating in ways that maintain an association with football and the World Cup but a lead in references to Qatar. And of course, the Federation of International Football Association quickly making some good money, especially when it comes to international tournaments such as the World Cup that generates in lots of money. Now, moving forward with sports business, BMW targets young golf audience with a DP World Tour renewal. Now, we're speaking golf this time around. DP World Tour and BMW Group have signed a 5-year sponsorship extension that will see the German luxury car brand remain an official partner and the official car of the DP World Tour until the end of 2027 season. So the DP World Tour will be having the golfers using the BMWs as the official car till 2027. Now, the contract period is a one-year increase on the previous agreement, which ran 4 years from 2019 to 2022, and will see BMW remain as title partner to both the BMW PGA Championship at Wentworth, England, and the BMW International Open in the car brand's hometown of Munich until 2017. BMW also continues as the promoter of the BMW International Open. And besides that, lastly, from the international news, we head to Barcelona as Brazilian star and current Paris Saint-Germain striker forward Neymar has been acquitted of corruption of the Barcelona transfer. Now, a court in Spain on Tuesday acquitted Brazilian superstar Neymar of corruption charges related to his transfer to Barcelona from Santos in 2013. The judges decided to acquit the 9 defendants who were being prosecuted in this various trial, including FC Barcelona, former club presidents Josep Maria Bartomeu and Sandro Rosell, Santos FC and Neymar's father, the court said in a statement. Now, Neymar's high-profile trial got underway in mid-October in Barcelona, just a month before the start of the World Cup in Qatar, where the 30-year-old, who is now at French champions Paris Saint-Germain and Brazil, did crash out after a penalty shootout loss to Croatia, who were also eliminated yesterday night as they played Argentina. Now, prosecutors had initially sought a 2-year jail term and a 10 million euro, approximately $10.5 million, fine for Neymar, but in a surprise move, they dropped corruption and fraud charges against all accused at the end of October. Now, lastly, with sports business, yesterday night, Argentina made it to the finals, and that was its 6th final in history, having defeated Croatia 3-0. Now, on Sunday, Argentina will be waiting to see which team they play on this particular final, as they'll be waiting between Morocco, who are the first finalists, who are the first African semi-finalists, who will be taking on defending champions France tonight, to see who will play against Argentina on Sunday in Qatar. And that's all for sports business this particular morning. Us to cross over to the SMB entertainment business with Barije Andrew this particular morning. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Durham. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, and of course, from the world of sports business, you get to realize now we have a finalist so far in the FIFA World Cup who will be walking out with $42 million at the end of it. Will it be Argentina or will it be one of these two teams who are playing today for the semi-finals? I don't know which team you're backing though.
Let me say, they call it Pan-Africanist. I believe in nationalism.
Yeah.
I definitely would really have a dream to see an African country reach the final. I don't really care, even though we don't take the World Cup, but that mileage would be something very, very remarkable.
And that is, if Morocco do beat France tonight, they will be making it to the finals and see. So we wish Morocco all the best. What do you have for us in the entertainment business this time around?
Well, this time around today, we are going to look at Wizkid missing a concert that's in Accra, Ghana. And of course, we are going to come down to have a look at anticipations of the new Avatar that is going to premiere tomorrow. As of course, people are saying, will it beat the record of the first Avatar movie, which sold over 2.9 billion, that's US dollars, being the most selling movie of all time since the movies really existed. And also shall come down to Taylor Swift. Of course, the court putting down the claims over the claim actually that she used lyrics of a certain song to incorporate them into her own music. That the court dismissed the case. And of course, more of these details will be coming up in business and entertainment. All right, now we'll start with Wizkid missing a concert that was in Accra. The Ghanaian fans were outraged after the superstar musician Wizkid failed to show up. That's to perform. And of course, these fans had paid about $280,000 and $2,000 US dollars just to come and watch Wizkid. Now I get to imagine that kind of disappointment regarding this aspect. And he was supposed to perform for 2 hours long. And the fans were waiting for this all day, the entire night, waiting about this, and he didn't show up. And now people are trying to feel this amount of money, $280. That's about 32,000. That's about 3,200. That's in Ghanaian currency. So you get to understand how much that damage was towards the expenses. So I'm trying to understand what the promoters are probably thinking and how much money that they have put into this particular concert, and he didn't show up. But definitely he came up and said he's going to actually come up with a brand new show coming up, promising something much more better than what was going to be put out there. But still the fans are mourning about 280 and 2,000. And 280, that's for the normal, and 2,000, that's $2,000 platinum, the table, what they call for the table. So that's what's regarding that particular matter with Wizkid. So definitely the management is looking towards that, and some people anticipate that the next time he comes back, they shouldn't really pay that money back again. They had already bought the tickets. They should just consider the ones that they had already bought. So I don't know what the organizers will be thinking about that, but that would be something very damaging. It's not the first time that he's missing out concert, like to perform in a certain country. Yeah, it happened in Uganda here, and of course, and still people weren't refunded the money back. So you get to see how really tricky. But of course, he went to his Twitter and posted saying that he respects his brand and such due to unavoidable circumstances. Though people are trying to understand what is really going on. Respect our money, and that's the whole thing about. Then why into the industry if you don't respect in your profession? Those are just, of course, views from other people regarding why he actually didn't show up for the concert. Remember, the people don't really care about that as long as they have paid. $2,000 is quite a lot. That's about, if it was in Uganda, that would be about 6 to 7 million. Imagine that you paid 6 to 7 million and you're disappointed by the artist. So it's not really good for you as an artist and as a business personnel. It's always important to fulfill your contract duties. Actually, in other words, in some incidences, you can't be sued for that if you're an entertainer, if you're a performer, and you will be paying damages, which will not only ruin your financial status, but also your image. And once your image is ruined, there is no way you're going to make some good money. But, well, he's already a star, but regarding that, the world really doesn't care. Okay, now away from Wizkid, we go to the sequel, that's Avatar, which is yet to premiere tomorrow. The post-production of this movie actually started in 2017. Talking about 2017, that's when James Cameron started to work on this. Remember, it's been 13 years ever since we last saw the first Avatar that was released. That was in 2009, and it grossed over 2.9 billion US dollars. Now, the question here the fans are putting out there is that will James Cameron be in position to actually beat his record once again? Now the challenge comes in. What really got the attention of the people and the critics is that the movie market lately has transformed. We are talking about the post-COVID. It's very tricky. People invest millions of money into making these movies, but the output, the return, yes, it will come out, but it takes long to recover the budget. This movie, Avatar, actually it's called The Way of the Water. It's saying that its budget was about 350 million US dollars, and actually that's just an estimation. The budget has not yet been disclosed, but it's about 350 million US dollars. So now we are talking about okay. Now let's imagine 600 million US dollars. That's the budget. And now this movie has to gross $3 billion to beat the record of the former. But of course, James Cameron has that attitude. He always beats his record. He has that really nice touch. So we are waiting tomorrow to see whether this movie will beat up the current market. Remember, lately the theaters, are trying to pick up. And then another question we are trying to ask ourselves in regarding this movie: are people willing to go back to the theaters after 13 years? Do you still have the vibe for this movie like back in the days? I'm trying to think, what is James Cameron cooking out? As you can see, the trailer really really touching and so remarkable, and quite so many effects. I told you the production started in 2017, so it's been 5 years of working onto this movie to ensure that it comes out that perfection. And of course, fans are anticipating quite big from this movie. Now, the thing is that according to a report here, which says that the sequel, the sequel to movie box office champion, that's Avatar, will be arriving in theaters. That's this week, and after the first film in cinemas, of course, they try to recover from the pandemic and draw people that is away from streaming at home. Still, the report here further says that Hollywood's big question about Avatar, that's The Way of Water, is whether the follow-up to the highest grossing movie of all time can attract enough moviegoers, and that's to recoup its massive production and marketing costs. And director James Cameron admits he is not sure regarding that. But of course, if you watch this movie, and according to what the critics say, if you view it from the critics' view, you really see that it's very possible for this movie to gross quite some good money. So we want to know, how is the first weekend really going to turn up like? I know for people to show up. The original Avatar, that's enchanted audiences with pioneering 3D technology that brought to life the lush moon Pandora and its blue, and of course its blue 9-foot tall Na'vi people. The 2009 movie remains the highest grossing film in history with 2.9 billion. That's in global ticket sales. So getting to see, and it's very interesting that when this trailer was released of Avatar, it already, in just 2 hours, in the space of 2 hours, it had about 240 million views. So that gave James Cameron confidence that actually this movie will beat the record. It will be in position to actually break the record of the previous. So let's wait and see how this really goes. You get to understand how tricky the streaming market is, the movie market is. People are just trying to get attached to streaming. So what will be the fate of Avatar in this regard? Let's wait and see. Okay, now away from Avatar, we wind up of the business entertainment as we look at Taylor Swift. Recently there has been a copyright case that has been filed against her, and they were saying that she got lyrics of a certain song back in the times, and she incorporated those lyrics into her songs. But then the funny thing is that the judges said the lyrics, this is just, okay, the lyrics of the song they're saying about are not even copyrighted regarding that. Or probably if the people that are putting this case on her are saying that, then they would have made these lyrics much more creative and unique and original. But then this is something that anyone can use. So you get to see that the case was dropped by the court. Okay, now reviewing a report here, it says that the case dealt with originality and creativity of lyrics over players playing and haters hating. You remember that song back in the days, players playing, haters hating? I remember the old version of the song that was released in the early 2000s, probably. Which class were you by then? Think about that. How old were you? Players playing, haters hating. And this Taylor Swift happened to get the lyrics of this song and put them into one of her singles, which was released 8 years back. That was about 2013? Yes, 2013. And the case has been filed regarding this matter. Now, a copyright suit against Taylor Swift from the songwriters accusing her of lifting the lyrics of her 2014 single, that's Shake It Off, has been dropped a month before the trial. The federal judge dismissed the case after the two sides agreed to solve the suit in a settlement, and that's according to court documents filed on Monday in California federal court. Terms of the deal weren't disclosed. Songwriters Hall and Nathan Butler sued Swift in 2018, so it's been going on since 2018, claiming she stole the lyrics to her song about players playing and haters hating. And that was by the 3LW's hit. That was back in 2001. Yeah, you remember that song. But now, when you go further into the court, you get to realize that, according to this report, it says that the case won on whether the lyrics from the Hall and Butler are protectable under federal copyright law. regarding that. So for that case, since it wasn't really so clear, the court decided to drop this. And that's what we had for you for business and entertainment this morning. It's exactly 59 minutes past the hour of 8 a.m. And back to you, Jora.
And of course, Andrew, as we are heading to the break, a comment on that Wizkid issue. I think it did anger a lot of Ghanaians who had spent their good money. Though surprisingly, also the stadium was not filled up to capacity, I think, to the expectations of the African star boy Wizkid. Maybe he has some of the reasons that he hasn't clarified on why he didn't perform.
Yeah, because 280 on the cheapest 280 and the most expensive being $2,000. That's quite a lot of money.
Yes.
And Wizkid is not really disclosing the reasons as to why he did show up for that concert. You know, he keeps saying due to unavoidable circumstances. But why unavoidable circumstances all the time?
Because I saw a tweet where someone said that if he did this in the US and he had a concert away from the African continent, he would be definitely going to face charges in court.
Of course.
But it's because it is on Africa where he is drawing the line, because maybe it's the African style anyway.
And I think this also comes back to that the bodies that are responsible for the art industry to really make policies that are really clear. Not only in the different countries where we do, but we should have intercontinental laws governing arts, performance, and industry. For example, Kenya, the government has to charge you. You know, to perform that, there is a tax you levy. You know, if you're supposed to perform and you don't fulfill that obligation, there is a charge to that. I mean, it should be made clear to respect this industry.
All right, so true, and we do still call for a lot of professionalism, especially from the art industry here in the East African Community region, if we are to ever grow the sector as well. All right, that is Berija Andrew in there. He'll be back shortly. That is with the SMB on ground later on at 9:30 a.m. But as of now, we do take a break. I do return with the SMB Insight and more. Good morning.